The most intellectually challenged student we've ever had. Who is it and why?
Okay, so I've been teaching for several decades. You've been teaching for a long time.
12 years.
Do you want to tell me your most intellectually challenged student? Because mine, I know who it is right off the bat.
You know what? Thankfully, I have a mind like a steel sieve, so a lot of names get lost. So that's kind of a good thing in this case. I can't remember the student. I can remember the city, the place. I can remember everything about it, but I can't remember his name. So I was teaching high school.
We'll just call him John.
Sure.
John.
I was teaching high school in a kind of financially strapped area, and a lot of blue collar work, which I actually love. I love those kids. They're the ones that know exactly what they need to do to get the job done. And those are my kind of kids. And this kid, his dad had a business doing commercial landscape, I think. It was something in landscape. And he was just terrible. He would just sit there and do absolutely nothing. And one day I get a call from...
Those are the best students. They just sit there and do nothing. Nothing you can do will get them to move.
After that student, I have coined the phrase, if you're going to get an F in my class, please just get a quiet F. And that kid, I get a call from the principal and said, hey, we need to have a meeting. It's about Johnny. And, you know, Johnny's parents and the counselor and the disciplinarian counselor at the time, who was just kind of a counselor who handled tough cases. She didn't have a caseload like Alphabet. She just handled some of the tough cases. And the principal were going to be there. And I was like, I'm getting fired today. You know, that's kind of the way, you know, if you don't know, I teach career technical education. I teach construction. And I always joke that a day you don't get walked out by security is a good day. And I was like, today's the day it's happening. I walked into the meeting and, you know, the parents are there, the counselors are there, the principal's there. And I brought all the paperwork because I know just enough to cover my butt with all the paperwork I need. So I sit down and we start talking about Johnny, and Johnny's mom is visibly upset about all this. And the principal turns to me and said, did you call Johnny a lump? And I said, well, no. I said, Johnny can't sit there like a lump on a log and he needs to get to work. And some notes were taken about that. And I was like, well, at least honesty is the best policy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And from that point forward, it started to devolve. Mom said that my teaching was too hard. It was too complicated for him. We just had happened to been working on applying for jobs and having interviews and things like that. And I'm a stickler, even though it's kind of passé now, to fill out applications by hand. And so I had brought in enough copies for every student in my class, which is about, at that time, about 150 students total. And I had brought in photocopies of the Aldi, which is a grocery store, application. And their job was to fill it out by hand. Now, I'm not checking to make sure that they get their address right. I'm not checking to make sure they got their phone number right. I'm checking for completion. I'm checking for legibility. I'm checking to make sure that, hey, if I saw this application come across my desk, I would want to interview them. This kid didn't fill out most of it. And so I pulled this paper out. I happen to have his original copy. And I pull it out and I said, well, ma'am, I'd just like to know what's too hard in our curriculum. Is it his name or his address? Because he didn't put either one down. And I want to be fair and I want to help him. And Mom actually said he doesn't need to know any of that. He's just going to fill gasoline cans for his dad's company.
Ambitious.
You know what?
Set that bar so low you can't miss it.
That's right. That's right.
Not that there's anything wrong with filling gas cans, but if you're 40 filling the gas can...
Well, yeah. She told me that my curriculum was too hard. And I said, you know, I would like to think that Johnny's going to take over Dad's business someday. How's he going to calculate the square footage to decide how to charge for the landscaping that he's doing? How's he going to calculate the profit margin so he pays his employees properly and make sure that he has enough money left over for the company to thrive? How's he going to do all these things? And she said... And I quote,
"No problem.
I don't see how any of that matters." And I looked right at the principal and I said, and this is the first time I ever said this in education. And I said, I think I'm prepared to quit if you want to get rid of me. And she said, I think we're done here. You can go back to your class. And I got up and I walked out the door and I thought to myself, I either lost my job today or I feel really good about myself and I won't know what for at least another 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And in 20, 30 minutes, the disciplinarian counselor, who I barely knew, came to my classroom and said, can I talk to you for a minute? And I'm like, wow, I'd have thought they'd have sent, security. And I said, sure, why not? And it just happened to be my advanced kids, and they were off doing their own thing, and I stepped out of the classroom for a minute. And she said, I just want to tell you, you did exactly what I think every single teacher in this school should do when they get a kid like that. And she said, I want you to know that me and the principal are in full agreement that that needs to happen a lot more often. Now get back in there and help these kids that are in there.
Awesome. Let me tell you about my most intellectually challenged student. Now, this kid, this is like 20 something years ago, long time. Can't remember her last name, but I know where it was from. A girl named Valerie. Now, Valerie, everybody knew Valerie wasn't the brightest light bulb in the ceiling, but everybody liked her. And when you talked to her, you kind of had to bend over and lower your voice and say, hey, Valerie, let's talk. What's going on? Well, I'm teaching my lesson and we're talking about the Revolution or Washington or something like that, whatever it was. And all of a sudden, Valerie's hand shoots up. And I'm like, hey, Valerie, what's up? Thinking she has a question, something to throw in. Teacher, I brought my phone from home today. I'm like, okay, Valerie, what, your cell phone? She goes, no. And I'm like, Valerie, what are you talking about? What phone? She goes, I brought my home phone. What do you mean your home phone? It's a cordless phone. And the entire class is just trying not to laugh. And everybody's staring at her. And I'm like, Valerie, sweetheart, honey, dear, can I see it? She goes, okay. She pulls out a paper bag, a big grocery paper bag, and inside is the phone part of a cordless phone. I mean, something that will go like, 50, 75 feet? And I'm like, Valerie, sweetheart, how far away do you live from school? About 2 miles. I'm like, so does it work? No. I'm like, well, Valerie, sweetheart, why do you think it's not working, being that you're 2 miles from your home? I don't know. Everybody's just holding back laughter, and some just couldn't. We just all lost it. So the next day she comes to school, and I just couldn't resist. I'm like, Valerie, did you bring your home phone today? She's like, no. I'm like, well, sweetheart, dear, why not? Because my dad wouldn't let me. I'm like, why not? I don't know. Oh my, I don't know what happened with this kid. Like I said, sweetest angel, biggest heart, but a box of rocks could beat her on the SAT any day of the week. So that's my most intellectually challenged student, and I've never forgotten her. Bless her heart. Bless her heart.
Bless her heart. Yeah,
right.
That's a good term. One thing, real quick.
Okay.
I just want to say, if you found this entertaining, if you like our style, if you're a teacher and you really feel like banging your head against a wall every now and then, and it just feels good to hear somebody else want to bang their head with the wall too, like, subscribe, and
comment
give
below.
us a little thumbs up. Comment below. Tell us
below.
all about your horrible students. Please don't leave names and dates and addresses.
No, we don't want to know what school, what district. We don't want to know your name. Don't use your, hey, teacher, my name at mydistrict.com,
And if you like this kind of comment, oh my gosh, I have a billion stories. Trust me. Have a good night, y'all. The most intellectually challenged student we've ever had.
No, sound more excited.
Oh my God. How do you get excited about idiots?